monastics, for example, yogis, they come through like a thorough training on bodhicitta, on loving kindness, on compassion. It's strongly associated with the Buddha Dharma. And so all beings, yeah, maybe Yeshi will just share this one because it's a point that I really want the Sangha to resonate with here and marinate on that. Let it be realized, whatever. But one can begin to realize that all sentient beings are here in this presence, right now, as I abide here. If the mind is clear, then all sentient beings are with me. Now, whether they're physically with me in the room, in my little tiny shed here, um, or not, it doesn't matter because my mind has some idea of sentient beings. My mind has some idea of parents and family and partners, community, the town, all these things. So it doesn't matter. Are you actually sitting with sentient beings in the room? It could be like a cat and some doggies, or your friends, your family. Could be some people, but mainly we're actually abiding in the presence, and all those beings are already here, not in the Nirmanakaya, but in the Sambhogakaya. So uh, in that intuitive dimension, they are all here with you. In fact, every being you have ever met is here with you. And I don't want you to begin believing that. I'm just saying it like, hey, there's a mountain in your view. And you look over and you say, oh, yes, several mountains there. That's beautiful. But these beings are here with you. And we get really self absorbed into our mind, thinking about ourselves and our problems. What am I going to do next? And um, it negates our compassion, it puts blinders on our empathy. When we're so stuck on some topic, something we need to do, um, if I'm sitting here, I need to turn this mala right now. I need to spin this mala. And a friend comes up to me and says, hey man, I'm not feeling so well today. Da, 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 da. I'm spinning this mala right now. Yeah, you can tell me about it, but you're kind of halfway there with your friend or your family or whoever it is. To me, I don't endorse that. If I'm reading something on the computer and one of my dogs comes to me, I stop reading or I pause a documentary or whatever, and I sit there and give this dog attention. It wants to communicate with me. I look at it, at least let my empathy be undistracted. That doesn't mean you have to give in to everybody that's pulling at your shirt necessarily, but we can notice when we start to blind our minds from the presence. And so we're neglecting sentient beings, especially when we're in this self proliferation, constantly, worried about our own objectives and our stories and what we got going on and what's best for us. This is a kind of perpetual self absorption that can be a great hindrance to true empathy and compassion. So, the undistracted mind is a very compassionate mind, actually. Yeah. You'd be surprised how much we step on when we're distracted, when we're preoccupied, when we're fixated. Let's say I have a plan today. Let's say I want to come here and I want to share this new drum that I got. Eh, I've had that drum for like 20 years. It's not new, but let's pretend it is. Um, and I really want to share this drum with you all. But then, as soon as I come here, I say, hey, is there any sharing going on? Anybody want to speak? And then somebody starts to speak about, oh, well, I had a hard day today. I went through several things today. And so I forget the fact that I have a drum. I forget that altogether. Let that fly. And I'm here with you, sharing. I'm not trying to promote an idealism here, okay? I'm saying that it's naturally in us to be like this, to not step on people, to not be unkind inadvertently, because even when we're kind of, not meaning to be unkind, we can be extremely unkind to people and hurt people. Making sense, right? How presence can truly open us up to some visibility to our empathy and our compassion. Okay. Pretty straightforward, I think. And you'd be surprised. The mind always thinks it knows better and it's fast. And, this person, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I don't need to listen to you. You'd be surprised. There's always something to learn. Even if somebody interrupts you, cuts you off, and starts talking, throw your case away. Listen to them. It's radical, I know. All right. Because typically they will always start with mantras in the beginning, some kind of invocation of compassion. And we don't do that here. We use natural abiding to access our natural compassion. So that's why it's always good to remind ourselves, hey, other sentient beings are here too. You have an entire civilization in your mind. And of all these people, we tend to focus on one the most, which is ourself a lot of times. Self-love is great. Now, that's a whole different story. We can offer ourselves some kindness and some peace and some love. But the stories, the self-infatuation, that's what becomes a little bit of an issue in terms of true evenness and bodhicitta, that compassion. Okay, so that's pretty much all I got. Yeah, Ropa, did you want to join in there?
I hope my mic is okay. Is it?
Yeah, it sounds fine so far.
Very good. Oh, that's very. It got me chills that you brought up this topic today, because yesterday I had a really intense sensation experience that all beings are just present in the fourth time, and all other stuff, the three times the Manakai display, are just a way for them to communicate, unless they see it clearly who they are and where they are. And until then, they create or co create together this illusion, this like a internet forum, or like a place to touch each other. Yeah. And so everything is compassion display, maybe.
Oh, very nice. That's, yeah, I mean, we probably could make a list of realizations that kick in as you're familiarizing with awareness. And that's one of them, the presence of all beings, but not in the presence that we would assume. And that's why, really, to get out of that thinking mind as a practitioner, this is, if we really care about the sentient beings, then we would hit the eject button so that we can be in our whole heart mind, as they call Yeshe Ningpo. Yeah. And Longchenpa said it so clearly on page 199, I think it was. the inner space meeting the outer space, then you have a great cognition here that everybody's worthy of. Even a doggy can see it. They look at me like this, and I look at them like this. And if they could just stop for a moment thinking food, 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 then they would see it. You have food? Is that why you're looking at me? Food? No, sometimes it's also love. Okay, well, just to remind, we have a book meeting today. I imagine it won't be that long because we've already made so much progress, but we'll probably go over what all is going to be in the next book and discuss any questions, concerns about that. I'm very happy. I can't believe we have like 250 pages. That is an actual book. Now, I don't know if the list that Doja Lekpa made is going to be 250 pages. Probably not, right? Imagine that's going to be more around 150. Anyway, so yeah, I think that's all the news for today, everybody. I really like the fact that we can get on the compassion page. Like I was saying, they typically have these mantras and various invocations for compassion, but I think we can just come to our naturalness when our distraction ceases, when our preoccupations are ended. Then it's very, very easy. The heart just breathes compassion. It loves sentient beings. It gets outside of itself. The mind gets outside of itself. That's the big thing. Why they have the entire Mahayana path. So if you're not thinking about other beings, I know it sounds crazy, then you're most likely stuck in a suffering. It's radical like that. Yeah, please.
This is really good timing because it's something that I've super been noticing myself, especially in conversation with my partner. Is the old experience would be as someone was talking, I would have ideas about what I wanted to say, and then I'd be respectful so that I would hold on to those, and then I would get a chance to say what I wanted to say. It's not like that anymore, for the most part. I'll say it's it's just so spacious, and it's just what they're saying, and there's just that room there. And I also had my partner comment just this morning. She had a bad dream that involved me, and she said this morning that like, and you've been so nice lately. And I think that exactly what you're saying is what I've been experiencing. That as you are less self-involved, you just have so much more room to hear and see other people, and it's just the natural consequence because I'm not so worried about my next goal, so I just see what's needed from it. So it's been great.
Meditation online, saving marriages since 2024. No, that's really wonderful. The that whole idea, because what you have to say is probably very, very precious, right? And important, and you're probably right. So, and it could hugely help this person. But actually, what's hugely helping them is you listening. The words are secondary, I'm telling you. So many people just don't want to be interrupted. They just want to be heard. They want to breathe out their experience. That's actually what you're doing when you cut somebody off and you think you already know what they're talking about. You're cutting their breath off. Their concepts are breathing in and out. And you're saying, wait, stop, no. And you're breathing over them, kind of. But it doesn't, I've had this so much, I have this quick mind that I always want to correct things. And man, when somebody says something, I'll be like, and then back up a little, back up, let it go. But that's not perfectly correct. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what you just said really resonated in a way I hadn't considered, for especially people that don't have this practice. When they're talking and sharing, is them letting it be. That's like their version of self-liberation. And when you're
Exactly.
interrupting, you're not allowing that process to happen. And yeah, the best thing that you could do is just allow that to come off of them however they know how.
Mhm.
Yeah, so thanks for putting that way. That's such a great insight for me.
Very good. Yeah, I'm sure you're not the only one. This is great science that's coming about from our gatherings as usual. But yeah, that's it, and it's very, very difficult when you got something in your pocket that needs to be said, and somebody else is going on and on about, stuff that's not important, stuff that's not scientifically accurate. But once you start to see the deeper dimensions, you see this great teaching and this wonderful expression happening there. And you really just become like a person in a theater watching a movie. You're like, wow, this is amazing. And you're not trying to step on it anymore. Even from the most mundane people, or mundane sharings, I should say. Okay, not mundane. Hey, it's great to be a mundane person. But, the mundane sharings, even, there's so much magic in it. There's a lot in there. But if our mind is very, very busy trying to override things, then we won't hear it. But here's another thing. You can keep something in your pocket. For example, if Onga is sharing about his partner having a bad dream, and my first thought, because it's a non-dual kind of play, is there are no bad dreams. That's just a pimple popping, right? That, from our perspective, that's a pimple popping. And so, but I didn't say, wait a minute, oh God, no, she's wrong. She wasn't having a bad dream at all. You guys are classifying this thing wrong. I didn't do that. I just let you keep on going. And look, it came back up, didn't it? I ended up saying it anyway. I had that thought when you said, "Oh, she had a bad dream." I thought, it's not that bad. That was my thought. But then I was more into your sharing. Well, I wasn't even into your sharing. If you get too much into somebody's sharing, you'll get a headache, actually, and it could become tension. Just relax. Let it be a kind of nothing and everything at the same time. It's beautiful like that, isn't it? We should start having communication seminars. We could charge a lot of money for this. All right, go ahead. Mossam has been wanting to share patiently. She's been wanting to speak over us.
I was listening to what you were saying and saying I can it can wait, it can be in my pocket. And well, one thing I wanted to thank you for what you said about compassion and knowing that everyone is here with us. And I have been noticing that more. And yesterday, noted it's interesting because I was noticing it a lot, and then Ropa too. But yesterday, as I was noticing it, I was remembering how, as a kid, I I that was present to me also. And what you said just now, everybody is worthy of that, of knowing that. Um, it it struck me because I remember thinking when I was young and noticing that, no, you think you are that aware and that in tune with everything and everybody, but that can't be true. You're not good enough to know that. And so when you said everybody is worthy of it, yeah, it's true, right? But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and that includes you, Mossam. Yeah, but you're right. We can be so dismissive, right? In our communications and things. I noticed this with the animals that we all start out, most people, they start out having empathy, compassion for animals, but it's not until they get hurt and they get preoccupied with materialism that they start to ignore the animals and treat them as lesser. And the same with kids. Adults just completely disregard kids and what they say a lot of the times. Or somebody who's new, for example. That's why this space is so amazing, because if you're new, you can come in here and fire off some Dharma wisdom just the same as somebody who's been here for a long time. Now, if it's not making sense, you're going to get called out, most likely. But you can. The possibility is there. Well, that's wonderful, everybody. And that tension that rises up when you're listening to somebody and you feel like, oh, I have to go, or I have to do this, I have to do that. That's your short session. Sit through that tension and you'd be surprised. Watch during communication where the tension is, where the weight is, and allow that to release. And you'll be able to talk to anybody. And that doesn't mean you have to sit there and get somebody like in your ear either, and you have to become the supreme listener. No, that's not how conversations are. Conversations are a dance, and they don't have to be structured, regimented, pre-contrived, fabricated, any of that. They can be completely wild. All right, well, wonderful topics today. We got to give Ropa a little break. Wow, lots of you still here. Appreciating that so much. And so thankful that you're able to, the supreme listener instead of the supreme leader. Nice. What if they did that? What if they converted? I'm no longer the supreme leader. Now I'm your friend. I'm your supreme listener. Isn't that what a leader's supposed to do? Be there for the people? Hey, buddy. Good morning. Good morning, little bear. Yeah, we got a flying friend in here. Haven't had a fly in here in a long time. Since last year, since we got this thing. But looks like John wants to participate. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to. Little Bear knew that we were winding down. My dog Seneca, like, can sense when I work from home and these things as things start winding down, like he shows up. He just knows, like, there's some kind of energy or some kind of tone of an online meeting that he recognizes coming to an end. So it's interesting seeing Little Bear just roll into the camera. So, anyways, just wanted to say that. I love that.
And I've switched it up too, like the words, and he still picks up on it somehow. The rest of them are too lazy to come over here and say good morning. It's so interesting, though. That shows you proof right there that there's a whole nother world, a whole nother dimension happening. Intuitive, lucid, spacious, omnipresent. And we have been accessing that today. It's really through compassion and empathy that we get there. Empathy and compassion don't have to be weak. They don't have to be vulnerable. Okay, so I think Oza wanted to also join in there.
Hello. I hope I'm not too late in the topic of communication. I was a little bit unable to open the mic before.
You go right
Uh,
ahead. Go right ahead.
okay. Thank you very much. Uh, just kind of my experience with this is that some person will share something, and I will have some automatic, almost very natural reaction. Uh, but it will be kind of in a like different culture or a different code. What I don't know what to call it. Kind of a different language that I'm speaking, and I know that I'm not. My kind of direct response to them wouldn't be speaking the same language as them. So I put it into my conditioning machine and spin it around until it's palatable. And so this feels like, at least in my experience, what is kind of at least feeling natural. Perhaps it's not even natural, but I'm not sure what feels natural, and what is compassionate, or what will benefit the other people, contradicts. So, at what point do these, kind of become one, and what is, natural becomes what is compassionate to the other person? Or, what is kind of the thing that's maybe missing there? Is nothing missing?
Yeah,
That's kind of my question.
exactly. It's easy for us to be like, oh, this is the proper way to communicate. This is how to be empathetic. That's not what we're doing here. We're just saying this is what's here during communication. Seeing is enough. We don't need a plan. We don't need to fabricate anything moving forward. You don't need to judge yourself. I'm a good listener. I'm a bad listener. That's so it's a little bit different. We're naturally going to be like, oh, I need to be more like that, more of a good listener and less distracted. We're naturally going to start to go into be the better, the best mensch, right? The best human I can be. But that's not it. We want our messiness here. We want the interruptions and the rough communication. We still want that, because that's being exposed in our gatherings. You don't want to encourage it. I'm not encouraging you to have, rough communication or something, but it happens every now and then, or challenging communication, unorthodox communication, and those are fine because those are incredible wisdom lessons, wisdom revelations that take place there. And so our gathering is super safe for that. You can actually spend this whole hour watching how your mind is during communication, during sharings and things. And a lot of stuff peels off of you during that. And so typically, Ozal, people communicate in a pre-programmed way, unless you're anomalous. That means that um, all your reactions are pre-programmed, all your impulses are going to be pre-programmed. If you make it through my whole sentence without interrupting, if you interrupt me in the middle of my sentence, that's part of your programming. You're conditioned. You do that to other people, right? I'm not trying to get personal with you. I'm saying
No, no, yeah.
I can even say with me, it was part of my programming that if somebody says something inaccurate about the Dharma, I will immediately have a thought, well, it's not like that, and that's fine. I could still have that thought, but I don't need to act upon it. I don't need to invigorate that thought at all. And so we all have these little programmings when it comes down to our relationships. And those programmings start to resolve themselves with the awareness practice. So then you will have a more natural communication that's uncontrived, and you don't have a predisposition that you're adding into your communication. Mm. If I
Okay,
have
so
a predisposition to smack somebody as soon as they talk to me, smack, smack, smack. I want that to stop. Nobody's talking to me anymore. I don't know why. Go ahead.
but like when you are stopping that, that's not true the same, yeah, like it's not like programming yourself to stop that. It's just,
Well,
kind
that's
of
what I'm saying. If you and I are speaking and I'm going smack, smack, you're going, "Ow, dude, my face is getting red. I'm getting a little woozy here."
stop, Dawai,
So
stop.
then I start to see also, okay, yeah, I start to see it within our communication. It may need your response. It may need your cheek getting red, but there's something in that reveals, the better communication where I can relax here and I don't have to be smacking somebody as we speak. That's an extreme example because,
I believe in
uh,
you.
yeah, I'm using that example because we're kind of doing that when we speak to each other sometimes. Not you and I, but somebody will be speaking and we don't hear them at all. We're just waiting to step on them with our point, and that's a smack. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
believe it
yeah.
or not, you guys are so exceptional in here. the listening is off the charts in here. It's really like Buddhas hanging out together. The amount of presence and everything, amount of presence. But anyway, it's really exceptional. All I'm saying is that at the very least, somebody can be heard, right? We don't even
Yeah.
really offer that to people. That I'm so distracted, I missed most of what you were saying, right? I only heard about 5% of what you were saying. That's where it becomes very unkind.
Yeah. So like receptivity to feedback and just generally being able to hear. I think that's just kind of the most basic and enough type of thing. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like if you're going out there and you're training in something, you want to listen and be receptive to the instructions, especially if you're taking a DUI test or something. You want to make sure you hear the officer exactly. But if you're intoxicated, and then he says, move your head without, watch my finger without moving your head. And you're like, you're supposed to be going like this.
I'll keep that in mind the next time that
Not that
happens.
I've ever had a DUI. Okay. I just know how it goes in America. All right. Very
Okay.
good.
Thank you.
It's like that with anything, somebody can explain some instructions to you, so how they feel, how to make dinner, anything. And we basically, through our distractions, our discursion, we miss half of what they've said. And then typically we also create a new rendition, of what somebody has said. This has happened in our gatherings. There have been people that went on Discord and said, Dawai said this and this and that. And people were like, no, he didn't. That's not what he was saying at all. But because the distracted mind is so crazy, it has to compensate and make up stuff. Okay, so let's have we'll do a dedication here. Yeah, there's the outer, inner, and secret in regards to communication, right, Doja Lekpa? Is that what you're referring to? Yeah. So it's pretty profound just to allow some presence. So we'll end the regular session here, make sure we dedicate, and then we'll go into our little book meeting, okay? So through the gathering of all these yogis today, any benefit, we'll take a moment of silence to give it all to sentient beings in his presence. And deep bow to everybody who's leaving. And deep bow to everyone who's staying for the book meeting.